the Lake by the author who does the Witcher series. I still don't want to try and pronounce his name. I've talked about this series a good amount, and a whole lot of the praise I've previously said before still holds up to the max here. It's written incredibly well, the character work is phenomenal, all of that is up to par with the previous Witcher books. That being said, I can already tell Lady of the Lake is going to be a book I have changing opinions on over time. There is some of the best catharsis reached in a book I have read within this story. That being said, this also has some of the most and this happens because plot needs it to happen, I've ever seen in the Witcher series. Many moments that have great emotional weight seem to be undercut by and then this happens because MacGuffin. There was even a couple choices I thought the author was going to make that I thought would be hugely drastic and very bold, but they were just flat out undone. I can't get into more of it without spoilers, so let's go ahead and move on, and at the end of the video I'll talk about it more in detail. The setting of this story is pretty much the accumulation of the last few books. War is still raging, there is lots of political turmoil, evil people, bad people are heroes, and a general kind of racial tension vibe between humans, non-humans, and all these creatures alike. There is also world and dimensional hopping, which I know was hinted at in the last couple books and has been talked about before, but it actually starts happening here, and quite frankly, it's my least favorite aspect of the Witcher series so far. I'm just not a fan of this kind of time dimensional hopping outside of the world that is at place, because it leads to certain avenues of escape for characters that just undercut tension for me, and it kind of hurt the overall story, but that's entirely a personal preference criticism and shouldn't really affect, unless your taste aligns with mine, whether or not you'll read this story. A massive chunk of this book is following Ciri, and I actually really did enjoy that. Even though she is the one who is partaking in this kind of dimensional hopping, which if you read the last book, you're aware of this, it's not really a spoiler, I did still really like following her because the character work that's done with her makes up for this plot element that I wasn't really enjoying. Ciri goes through the ringer. In fact, her kind of arc in this story felt like Muhammad Ali's rope-a-dope for me. She is just taking a punishment throughout the story. Without spoiling the ending, there is kind of that last round comeback that is oh so satisfying. We spend a shockingly small amount of time with Geralt, but the time we do spend with him will be fan favorite moments. I can already tell that now, because he has some of the most badass hardcore Geralt moments we see within the series. Yennefer, though, has the worst time of this story. Her setup is excruciating, and it lasts almost until the very end. This girl does not really get a break. My god, do I feel bad for her, and she is an utter badass during the story, though. While she's going through these horrific trials, she never really shows much hesitation to continually stand her ground and fight against those who are trying to break her. That's the setting, and despite some kind of annoying elements in my opinion, it was all executed rather well, but I need to get into spoilers for some of my criticisms from here on out. So if you have not read Lady of the Lake, you plan to, I would recommend going ahead and clicking off this video and knowing that my quickie review is, of course, I still recommend it. The Witcher series is one of the best fantasy series being written. It's absolutely incredible. Can't recommend it enough. This just happens to be, maybe, if I think about it some more, the weakest entry in my opinion, despite some of the best moments of the series so far. That's my overall review in a nutshell. But getting into spoilers now. So obviously when I mention catharsis, I'm talking about the battle that takes place. It was amazing to see this kind of ebb and flow that was handled so well with the author's writing style. I really believed both sides had an equal chance of winning, and the last minute comeback is incredible. Enjoyed that so much. Amazingly well written, although spending this time with the PIF was kind of just different, because previously in the Witcher series we have not spent extended amount of times away from what we call a central character, and doing so while it did provide great world building and really kind of help establish everything else, I did kind of find myself wondering, wow, why can't it be kind of Geralt involved here? I'd like to see some characters I already have a lot of investment with, but whatever, what have you, let's move on. It was well handled, and overall I can't really complain about it. But let's talk about the ending of the book here, where my largest criticisms come into play. I absolutely hate it unless it is entirely earned and there are real consequences for the loss and return when a character is killed and brought back in any fashion. It bothers me. I do not like it. If someone dies, they should be dead. And unless it is significantly huge to the story, there's much character growth that happens then comes back, I really can't excuse it. A comparison I can draw to it is with the Wheel of Time. Spoiler warning for the Wheel of Time, pretty massive one. Go ahead and mute it until I'm doing this if you want to miss that out. Starting now. When Moraine dies, there is a huge gap of time until when she comes back. And the significance there is character development happens, her returning impact really changes dynamics, and she gets to witness the end result of the growth she established. That is a purpose to her not being there, because if she was continuing there, then these characters wouldn't be able to grow on their own. They would have constantly been under her tutelage. So the absence of her allows this magnificent growth, and she's able to return as almost this mother figure, seeing the result of the seeds she planted. It's great. No more spoilers now. But now having like Geralt and Yennefer be saved in this kind of, yes, the magic system here is very soft and I could accept that, but it seemed almost just like, 'cause plot, now they're fine. I just kind of got taken out of the story by that. And now they're in Camelot, Arthurian legends for some reason. I cannot really agree with that choice, but this is a creative choice that I do not like, so it lines up with taste rather than an actual heavy criticism that I can say this is bad. I personally do not like it when an author is going to jump out of the world they are going to build and establish and jump into another fictional world that we are familiar with as readers. I just have an issue with that, and I'm not really liking it. I'm just really not okay with it. It feels wrong. I don't know why. I just can't really get into it. It feels like bad fan fiction you read online where people will like take Frodo and throw him into Harry Potter, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna write this now. It reminds me of that. I can't get into it, and it honestly is going to hurt my opinion of The Witcher if this continues on for a long period, because it's just really going to hurt my personal preference. I'm still going to back up the claim that The Witcher is some of the best fantasy ever written, but it's certainly pulling away from my comfort zone. And it's an odd comfort zone for me to have. I know it's a very odd specific thing. I just really can't get into it. Then you add on top of that a very roundabout kind of soft magic system way of reviving these two people who, honestly, I would have been okay with their story kind of ending at that moment. It just really subverted my expectations in the worst way, because I was really getting ready for a Geralt death moment. I was like, wow, is the next book a prequel and I'm not aware of it? This is heavy. He really earned this and the author's doing a great job. And then having it just kind of rewound and taken away was hugely disappointing. And I know people are going to disagree with me on that. I know people who watch think The Witcher books is flawless, but I just want you to understand that I'm not criticizing it in a technical way. I'm saying personally, I am disappointed to see the story go this way in a way that just doesn't line up with my taste. That being said, I still found Lady of the Lake to be as good on technical level, on writing, as the rest of the Witcher books. I'd still recommend this to just about everyone, and I'm still very much so looking forward to the next book. So do not worry, I'm going to finish it. It is still in my top fantasy series of all times. I just now, finally, this many books in, do have some real things that don't line up with my taste. It's not a step down in quality at all. I wouldn't compare it to Wheel of Time's slog. I wouldn't compare it to the sequels in Dark Material, which are actual kind of like, this is not as good as previously. It's just now diverging from where I want to see the story go. I know I'm being very repetitive. You'd just be amazed how many people in the comments are going to struggle to see the difference here.
Any criticism of what I like is not allowed.
Seems to be what a lot of people think is a review. I'm going to go on a little side rant here. This could be a whole video, but it's going to be 30 seconds me at the end of the video on something completely unrelated. I just need to vent this out. What happened to don't talk during movies and TV shows in like society in general? It's driving me absolutely nuts. I'll sit down with my family or friends or whatever to watch something, and the way I was brought up, if you need to say something during a movie or a show, you ask to pause it, or you just reach over and you pause it. You don't just start talking while things are happening on screen, killing the momentum and everything that's building with your own little commentary or question. I'm fine with you pausing. Pause if you want. That's okay. No issue there. But don't just start talking. Don't just override their dialogue. We all agreed to experience this. What in your dumb face is more important than that? If there's a fire, you can mention the fire. That is about it. I don't know. That's just I was with family over the holidays, and that I got given crap for asking people to stop talking, and now I'm gonna use my online YouTube channel to bitch about it. Okay, that's it. That's my review of Lady of the Lake. Hope you guys liked it. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.